made videos on Sci-Vive and how to do this and how to be a better person, all that stuff. We all get it. That's what he's going to have to do. And if he doesn't do that, it's not going to happen naturally. That's why we push to stream. That's why we push to do. Hey, if you're going to do that, just go back to your old character and just hey, that's your personality. That's your trait. That's what you're going to do here in this space. If you want to change, guess what? Read your own book.
He needs to come back and start responding to people calling him scammers. Like, and honestly, they're honestly calling him out too. Altcoin Daily, Ivan
Yeah,
on
no,
Tech.
for the
Like
big
these guys
people,
have bags. They have
yeah,
bags too, and that's why they're saying something.
of course.
Bitlord, crypto Bitlord. Like he needs to start coming back and responding to them, but he's got nothing to say. So it's like, honestly, bro. And I know it's a lot of people don't want to hear this, but it's true.
How
He's
many other
either
founders, though?
scamming us or it's just we're about to have the biggest comeback story in crypto.
I think it's about to come out.
Yeah,
And I mean
I
my
think
money's on go up, but I'm just saying if you got $1 billion and you don't even or not even or close to a billion, whatever it is, like and you're not even gonna inject or do anything besides tablets, like I mean that's a joke. Yeah, I mean, like Beaver's had the perfect plan. If you're an actual billionaire, like take a billion of your money and just start outbidding the Jeets. Just go, go, go. And as Ethereum doubles, now you smashed it. You know, cash out your Ethereum around 9K, 10K, and everybody makes money. Like, but and if you add streaming and tweeting and being bullish with that, you know, even better. I would be have an athlete's mindset, and this is why I've always betted on Richard Hart because I felt like he wants to win, and all the criticism, all the BS. I've been on the run from the law. I've done time, like, but it gave me so much drive to prove everybody wrong, to come back and have that huge comeback story. And that's why that's the reason why I bet on Richard Hart because I felt he was that guy who had that sports style mindset who said, you know, no matter what, actually with more things going against him, it
yeah,
makes
the
him
underdog.
even grind harder.
Yeah,
But the Richard we've been seeing is like I'm backing down. I don't care. I'm all about the tech. Like do as I say, not as I do.
The one thing that interested me is the fact that he said in the past that the best marketing is green candles, and then yesterday he's gone completely opposite that.
Yeah, he's
That
contradicting
was
himself.
so weird to me.
Shakeout.
He literally said the only thing that matters is price, and he's right. That is the best form of marketing. So
but do you know how?
he contradicted himself yesterday.
No one cares about tech or community or
Exactly.
no one cares about tech, no one cares about utility. If it's pumping, they will come and then they figure out, "Oh, okay, this has some cool stuff. I'm going to stay here. I like the features." But
I think Richard was at his best when he was like listening to hundreds of people in the community. Take like the PLS planning group, for example. He invited 75 people to contribute all the game theory of Pulse Chain that ended up getting implemented. And he read through tens of thousands of messages there. And if you look at when he was developing Hex, like he was listening to people. And so I think yesterday that was a change where he went from like maybe he was listening to some people, but there wasn't a conversation happening to now he's listening to people, he's giving feedback, which tells us what he's thinking more, like his macro view on like, you know, how much is ETH going to go up? He doesn't know because it's all like institutional players this time. Like I think all these things are going to tell us a lot more and allow the people who he is willing to listen to give him valuable ideas, you know, if people haven't quit by then or whatever.
Hey,
I
I
do
can't
agree
lie to
with
you guys. The more we talk about it, I feel like he was rage baiting us yesterday.
I said it. I said it
100%.
though, bro. He's gonna keep contradicting himself. He's been contradicting himself with the marketing. He's been contradicting himself with the green candles, and he's gonna keep doing it now because time is closing up. He knows ETH's gonna run in a few weeks. He knows all-time highs for ETH's gonna come in November, and he knows it's very soon. So it's the final shakedown. Dun-dun-dun-dun.
We've been saying that for a long
Yeah,
time.
no, we've been saying the whole shakeout thing
Yeah,
has been literally the narrative of Pulsechain since
but how
launch.
much months is
Guys,
left? But how
shakeout,
much months
shakeout.
left? But how,
Ten
but how,
percent tick. Don't worry, guys. It's a shakeout.
but how much months are left though? Is the bull run going to run for another year? We've been
No,
here
but I
for
don't
2
think
years,
it's
4
a.
years.
I don't think it's about shaking out here. I generally don't. I
Nah,
think,
he's getting
bro,
ready.
it's listen. I don't listen. You've shooken the tree so much. There's no more apples left on the tree, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe Richard will make a statement and do something that's completely not been done in crypto before, and that's not pegging a token. That's literally pumping us in the bear market to the and there's no one left to.
That's never
Well,
been done
listen, I
before.
mean,
That's what you think the
well,
innovation
I
is
listen.
that's coming.
I
It's not
think
been done before, bro.
what he's saying there is,
He literally did it
uh,
2020. We just sold the F top and he rotated into like he's
yeah,
probably going to do
right,
that again because it makes the most efficient
right. The
sense.
bullishness in that is, I think what he's saying there is like, well, if there's not a broader alt season, we're gonna have ours because he's got plans.
Exactly. That's all I'm trying to say here. And whenever and we're talking about whole chain here. We're not talking about just one shitcoin on Ethereum. We're talking about a whole chain here, having all eyes from crypto on it because it
Yeah,
is green 20% every single day, while everything else is 5% red or
yeah.
10% red.
We're better
That's what
off
I'm
than nothing
talking about here.
moves.
See,
You ain't
dude, they're going to
seen
buy
a whole
Pulse.
chain and a chain survive, right? That's the main point. Is a chain. There's been tokens in the past, or even I think there's been a layer one that did pump in the bear market, but that pump got obliterated, and that whole chain is dead now. Pretty sure that that's happened in the past once, but to see
I mean, we're setting up for a superset because like we have so many burnt tokens. They're going to have to buy Pulse, market buy Pulse, and they're going
it's
to have to
the
buy
whole
Hex.
ecosystem,
That's going to
brother.
like
The
doubly.
whole
It's going to
ecosystem
be
is
insane. Yeah.
alive. I'm not just talking about this. Is what I'm saying. It's never been done before because you ain't got just the core coins pumping. You got every ticker on Pulse Chain pumping at the same time. You have now
Yeah,
eyes
Right.
from every meme coin. Oh my God, there's meme coins that are pumping on this. Even if people don't like core coins, that's what I'm trying to say here. Is something that generally hasn't been done before and it could work and it could do amazing. And I want my bags to pump. Thank you. And I want to make some money this cycle. Thank you. Okay, thanks. Bye.
I think that's when he drops the innovation is on top of this whole like what we all think is going to happen, like incorporated with something major on top of that.
There was a tweet from Richard yesterday that, I mean, could be conceived as bearish for EHEX, you know?
I think EHEX will have its time. I think it will pump. I think all the cores will pump, right? But we gotta understand, right? Like this is Richard's playground to a certain extent. He owns 90% of the supply of majority of the tokens. He controls what happens with what token to a certain degree, right? And from understanding his tweets yesterday, responses, I wouldn't say it's bearish. I would say it's more, like even the whole, people say, oh, but P-Hex is just a P copy. There's nothing else to it. Richard literally made a statement yesterday when someone asked him that question, and he said it's a core coin. So
Yeah.
if P-Hex is a core coin, it just means you need to update your worldview if you think it's just a P copy and P hex and E hex need to get to parity, and then you think pdai is gonna get to parity, and then you think pwbtc is gonna get to parity. I think it's an eye opener. And sometimes, people look at things and think, oh, 15 different shades of grey. And in reality, sometimes it's literally just black and white, and you have to understand the tweet just the way the tweet has been written. And that's the problem with
Bro,
us
it's
really.
a new, better version, just like any other fork in the past, where you get both ends. If you're in it before the fork, you get a copy on both sides, right? So same as every time BTC forked. As long as you had it before the fork, it was up to you after the fork which one, if you wanted to make a decision on which one was the real one or which one was going to be ascertained as the real one, and sell the other one off, or whether you don't want to risk it and you're not really sure and you want to keep both, right? At the end of the day, those that had a hex before the fork got p hex and got to keep their hex. And yeah, those that don't think that p hex is a core coin obviously just haven't done much research, because obviously we all know what the core coins are on Pulsechain, and P-Hex is definitely one of them. So yeah, there's only 4 core coins. and PHEX is one of them, and EHEX is not one of them.
Yeah,
And
that's like you said, like whenever there's a fork, like let's just use Bitcoin as an example. When Bitcoin forks, the miners basically decide what chain they want to mine on, and then the public also decide what coin they want to hold on to. With Bitcoin, the forks are worth like barely anything compared to the real BTC because people chose BTC as the one. They didn't care about Bitcoin Cash. They didn't want to keep it. They didn't care about Bitcoin SV. They didn't keep it. Everyone chose BTC as the real thing. With Hex, people have chosen the majority of people have chosen PHEX as the real Hex. So if that's how you got to look at it, it's like it's the fork, and people chose PHEX to be the one. EHEX will exist, but it will never be worth the same value as PHEX.
no, exactly. I mean, when Bitcoin fault, if you held your Bitcoin Cash as opposed to holding the real Bitcoin, look at the difference, right? It was crazy. You would have made crazy gains by flipping your Bitcoin Cash
As soon
at
as
the
it forked,
time.
right?
As
It
soon
was
as it
worth the
fault,
most.
yeah,
Yeah,
at the
same
time,
with
as soon as
Hex.
it fault, yeah, same with Hex, yeah.
Think about it. You got the most value out of EHEX if you sold it when Pulsechain launched, right? That's when it was worth the most. I don't think it will ever get back to like I think it will get back to like 3 cents, 4 cents, which is
Yeah.
like kind of where people started realizing and selling it off into the new one. But
Yeah.
I don't think it will ever be worth more than that, and PHEX will be worth a lot more than that.
You guys remember Pulsechain to Pulsex went 360 to 1, and you could have got 360 to 1 on your Pulse against Pulsex.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like,
There was a bunch of big wallets selling their PLSX into PLS.
it was insane, bro. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, you could have. So if you had 2 grand worth of Pulse bags, you could have basically 300x'd it into Pulse X, and
That's
then
crazy.
obviously, like, it was insane, and it did last a little while. It was like half an hour, 15 minutes to half an hour. You know. Was anyone actually live on launch on Pulsechain other than me and Panos?
No, I was live, but I just didn't trade any of my shit. Set a B.
Uh, yeah, if you would have traded your Pulsechain into Pulsex in the first half an hour, you would have got up to 360 to 1, bro.
Yeah, that's
And then
mad.
and now it's back at like 1.5 to 1, 1.4 to 1, whatever it is. So just imagine the profits. And it came back within after the half an hour. It came back like it took about an hour to come back to like 4 to 1. But yeah, man, some people absolutely killed it. Like whoever made those moves in the beginning that knew what they were doing. We just thought like, wow, Pulse X is going to shit, and it's all going into Pulsechain. So once a big move was made, even when it went like 10 to 1, you didn't want to do it. Like you're like, what the hell's going on? And even if I would have just clicked like 10% of my Pulsechain into Pulse X at the time, bro, when I think about it now, it's so stupid not to.
But I think everyone was like that. Everyone was like most of whoever did, yeah, GG's to them. But the majority of people like we'd be like just better to just let it ride, you know. But yeah, that's fuck 300 to
Do you
1.
guys
I didn't
think?
even notice. If I noticed that, man, I would have done it straight away.
Yeah, 360 to 1 I saw.
Crazy.
Are you guys saying that EHEX is going to continue to go
No,
down, or do you guys think it's
No,
going to stay?
against PHEX, I believe it will continue to go down. There'll be times when it will rally against it, like any other coin, right? Ratio wise.
Like he's clearly not supporting EHEX. Like clearly, after the things he's said and done, which whether
Well,
right
I
or
mean,
wrong. But
he's just spitting facts about there is small upside to Pulse being routed through Pulse and Hex. Like there's still a lot of case for like EHEX staying around. It's the same
the
product.
only
Yeah,
Its
it's
upside,
gonna
main
stay
downside was the
around. It's
gas
gonna stay
the
fees.
only
around for sure.
upside to EHEX is the small liquidity. So somebody could come along like Firewell, for example, and pump it to high heaven. They could send it to the moon. pretty easy. If you look at p hex, to make for p hex to make those sort of moves, obviously it's going to require much larger injection of cash. That's the only upside to e hex. But then it's like the same with anything that's dying. The liquidity is going to be smaller and smaller, isn't it? I think Hex has got such a large community that eHex will always be around, but what it will be worth, I have no idea. I just don't think it will keep up with PHEX.
So
No, I think it'll be like
There's just a
10-to-1
lot of
ratio for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
so
no. I think
we
it's
can look
gonna.
at other things that have been forked in the past, right? And even in the bull market, right? The previous copy always does have pumps,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't mean that it's not gonna pump. Does not mean that eHex won't have a pump because eHex.
You're talking about blockchains
No,
forking,
we're
though.
talking about.
We're talking about a financial product. What? Because like even Execute couldn't find a good example of like a product that's actually
Well,
forked and
technically
it's still the
speaking,
same.
isn't Pulsechain a better Ethereum, a full copy
Well,
of Ethereum?
yeah, Pulsechain is basically a
Yeah,
fork
so
of
Right,
Ethereum.
Ethereum, you
but
can look at
eHex and PHEX are
Ethereum.
still a CD.
Yeah, but what Royston is saying is basically like when Bitcoin has a hard fork, the chain doesn't actually change. The chain exists still, but then another token exists within that chain. But hold on a second. Doesn't Bitcoin Cash have its own chain? It does, doesn't it? Same with Bitcoin SV. So it would be technically a whole new fork of the blockchain, right?
Right, and eHex is just a financial product that
Well, no, it's
was
just
sort of
it's an
copied onto
yeah,
the
it's an
new.
ERC20 that was copied over. Yeah. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Right.
There is a difference there, but that makes it even worse in my opinion. I think that's even more bearish.
Well, there's a lot of reasons
Okay,
why
but
Richard would
can't
want to
you
keep
compare
eHex at
Ethereum
least
Classic then?
close.
Ain't Ethereum Classic an active chain?
It is. There's still yeah.
But that's people migrating to the new chain,
it-
like because the
yeah,
old one
yeah,
is flawed or
yeah.
broken or
So, but
something.
you're saying is there wasn't a chain for Hex. Hex just lived on Ethereum, and then when Ethereum was forked and Pulse Chain was born, the Ethereum ERC20 token that lived on Ethereum was then forked to Pulse Chain. So that's the
Yeah,
difference between that and like a Ethereum and Ethereum Classic and Bitcoin Cash and et cetera, et cetera. So I see what you're saying. There is a difference there.
Ethereum Classic is the real Ethereum, and I still think is the better code as
Well,
well.
it's the original code, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's the original Ethereum, and I still think it's the better
Yeah, but the
version of
developers don't, which is
what
why
yeah.
like no one's adopted it. There's a few developers that still use it,
Mhm.
but that's a good example, right? Like, what's the price of Ethereum Classic to like how much is Ethereum Classic right now, and then how much is
Um,
Ethereum?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
okay, let's say eHex goes to $1 one day, right? Would you say it's more valuable then?
Well, if
Well,
EHEX goes to $1, what would that leave PHEX at?
exactly. You got to look at what
Exactly.
$10.
I know. That's my point, though. Is PHEX is going to bring eHex wherever PHEX
Yes, to a
goes.
certain
First,
degree.
like
No, no,
final,
no.
no matter
So
what.
that's wrong, right? Richard made a good statement yesterday. Buying EHEX is like buying Ethereum. Buying PHEX is like buying bullshit, right? Number one. Number two. Yes, Hart's law will bring EHEX up, but you always have to take in consideration sellers. You have to take in consideration people that have stakes, and there's countless motherfuckers out there, big whales. When their stake ends and their EHEX stake ends, bro, all they do is they rotate it into PHEX. So, if there's let's just say there's no sellers on EHEX at all and PHEX pumps, yes, it brings the price of EHEX. But as soon as sellers come into the picture, that's where you have a problem now,
Well, I know, but
Yeah,
there's
of
going to be
course, of
sellers, like,
course.
no matter what. It's kind of like saying there's going to be, like,
No,
clouds
no,
in the
no,
sky. Like, we all
bro.
know there's going to be people
I'm not
selling it.
disagreeing with you at all here, right? PEHEX pumping is good for EHEX, because it will bring up EHEX 100%. But to say, that it will outperform it is like, I don't know. It's
Oh, no, I don't agree it'll outperform. I think, like, best case, it might go 1-to-1 and then, like, go
if
back
it
down.
ever did go 1-to-1, I think it would be on a term where PHEX is dumping,
right? You have like a Megatron, Gazillion whale selling p hex, and that would be your one-to-one kind of thing where the price will get so low that let's just say hypothetically speaking, Ethereum's pumping hard, right? Then all of a sudden you got this dormant whale, you know, he's got, I don't know, a billion hex. He decides to sell his p hex. That's where you could potentially see a one-to-one, because Ethereum would bring up p
Yeah,
hex, but at the same time, you know, where this guy is dumping a billion p hex is going to bring the price of p hex down to the point where it could hit one-to-one. If it
sure.
ever, yeah.
My thing is like if you think about it deeper, and sorry to cut you off. I wanted to get this point across. There's multiple levels to everything, and I think we're looking at market and charts and price as like the first two levels. The third level is the OA on both of these wallets, EHEX and PHEX. There's a lot of things you can do with it. If you consider it like a bank account, like a business for Richard, he has yield. The OA is constantly building its yield. It's constantly getting early unstake yield. If he deploys PHEX and makes T shares valuable again, and something like basically adds on the X hex somehow, and then people start staking hex, and maybe it's pulling collateral from them, whatever it is, right? If he makes T shares valuable again, the same code is on ehex, and there's not as many stakers on ehex if I'm not mistaken. So like if he makes T shares valuable again, there's a good case that ehex has another play where it's yes, there's higher gas and it's worse than PHEX, but there will be a better ratio than 1 to 3 one day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think the gas is an issue because unless you're only using a very little bit of money, right? If you're staking hundreds of thousands of dollars of hex, the gas is irrelevant, right? So
Right.
if that's the case, and then T shares become profit like good again, and you could earn more maybe on the Ethereum side because there's less people staking, so you get a larger share of the pool. Then yeah, I could see people going over there to stake to try and get more T shares.
Right. Because like I think he's making a financial system, right? And I think that financial system is going to feed into Hex and the CD and the T share. So if he does that, it's like then we start looking at Hex differently. It's not just a dump forever stake coin.
I don't know. I've always been like on the other side of this whole like financial system thing. I think it's a bit of a grift in the sense that this is a altcoin cryptocurrency that people speculate on. Um, I put that above it being some kind of financial instrument like a CD on the blockchain because nobody cares about that. That narrative is like 5 years old and irrelevant in this day and age. People are more concerned about meme coins than earning yield. And unless something changes to make the people's mindsets go back to like DeFi and yield, I just don't see there being like
Yeah. No, I agree.
it's kind of like that was like staking hex was cool in 2019 when it was like DeFi summer and like the narrative was like, oh, if you're in hex and you're not staking, you're not cool
Well,
kind of thing.
I agree, but like, and like Tam Tam's here, she can back me up. But like, I'm looking for places where I can invest that's not as hard as and difficult as real estate. So like, I am always looking for yield. So if the issue is the price isn't going up, so like when Hex starts to go up and it holds 50 cents and a dollar, this is a
Yeah.
completely different conversation because then you have people like, well, shit, I don't know where to buy Hex because I buy this dip or like, is it going to crash again?
So here's what I would say: it's way more advantageous to sell your hex when the bull market's over, sit in stables for 1 year until everything finds a bottom, hex drops 90% again, and then buy back way more hex than stake it through the bear market. Way more
Right.
advantageous.
That's what my plan was. But I think when Richard implements what's coming in the next few years, I think it's gonna be a little different than just being that easy to like, I'm gonna sell the top and then I'm gonna buy low and stake.
It's not even about selling the top. It's like you're not going to catch the exact top, but when the
Sure, yeah.
market's done, right, and reality set in, Bitcoin has topped out, Ethereum's topped out, the Pulse chain coins have topped out. A lot of people think that staking their hex through the bear market and earning hex as yield is the play, but I don't believe that at all. And it's not just with hex; it's with any kind of coin that you're staking to earn yield. if throughout history, you're always better off selling that thing and then buying it back much lower. You will accumulate more of the thing than you would if you staked it with and own t-shares. Like that's my opinion anyway. Like I won't be staking my hex through the bear market. I will be selling it, and then if I want to play on Pulsechain again next year, I will be buying it back. In 2027, way lower than what it is, or way lower than what I've sold it for.
Yeah, I mean, I think people in Bitcoin said the same thing the first few cycles, and it just didn't. I think good traders are going to win regardless. But normal people,
Yeah, but you can't.
like a lot of people
You
in Pulse
can't.
Chain.
I just don't. I don't compare anything else to Bitcoin because no matter how much you're bullish on a project, the chances of it surviving, and when I say surviving, I mean every cycle making new all-time highs and getting more adoption, just like Bitcoin has, just like Ethereum has. You're literally like the odds on that bet that you're taking are so stacked against you that yeah, you're like if you were just to hold Bitcoin instead of sell it, you'd have a lot more now than what you would 15 years ago. But historically, look at every other altcoin. Most of them don't make new all-time highs every cycle. They actually make lower highs and have less adoption, and in the end fizzle out. Because adoption is what's important, right? At the end of the day, supply and demand and adoption. So even though something might seem really great now, you don't know what it's going to be like in the future, right? So to bet on just holding something because Bitcoin done this, I don't think that's a good mindset to have when you're doing high risk plays like Pulse Chain and Hex.
Yeah, well, my bet's on Richard Hart. I'm not. If you bet on the hex chart, that's a dead horse. But my bet is that there is a decentralized system being built here, and there will be things that make everything more pumpy. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of cool stuff. That's where it's like you're right if I'm wrong, right? And nothing that I think is going to come happens, then you're completely right. And this is all just a pump and dump chart, and we're all just going to cycle in PvP. But I think Pulse Chain is the only thing of its kind that's being built as like a decentralized financial system for the people.
That was the plan for Hex, right? But after 4 years, it's still down over 90%. So I don't know. For me, it's a tough one.
Yeah, no, again, that's what I mean. Like you're right today. I'm hoping in a
Yeah.
few months you might update your worldview because things
Well,
have
like
changed.
I
That's
hope
all.
I'm wrong because I'm still going to keep a moon bag when I sell out. But I would be in the casino playing blackjack trying to hit numbers, whereas I would rather play something with better odds, which is a bit safer.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I'm still good. I still make money. Sorry, if I'm right, I'm still good. I still make money. If I'm wrong, then great. Everyone else makes crazy money, and my moon bag is worth a lot of money as well. But yeah, I don't know. I just go by previous cycles, previous market, previous coins. Yeah, I guess
Yeah. I mean, that's what served you best, so it makes sense.
yeah, like bro, like don't get me wrong. I round tripped a lot of money on having the same belief system that hexagons have, thinking that this is going to be the future. And I'll give you an example of a coin that has a massive market cap still and is still, I mean, kind of relevant, but not as much. It was like one of those Ethereum killers, and it still has way more adoption than Pulse Chain. Is Dot. Dot was like one, and that's one of the coins I round tripped. I bought Dot pretty high, and it has done nothing this cycle. Absolutely nothing. It hasn't moved. It's like so. A lot of people bought into Dot thinking it's the next Ethereum. Because obviously one of the guys from Ethereum was involved in it. A lot of developers were getting interested in it, and everyone believed that okay, I'm going to park my money here because it's going to do what Ethereum done, but it didn't. And
Well,
that,
actually, it's still doing its vesting periods. So it had a 4 year vesting period. It just did its 2.0 release, so technically it did upgrades, and it still has to this day the most devs
yeah,
on chain
it
working.
has a lot of devs, and
Yeah, it
but
has a
like
lot of promises, but it's just not the time, right? I feel like Polkadot would be perfect when the business industry comes in, like when franchises need to adopt the technology and stuff. But I agree with you. It's not its time yet, in my opinion. right? But you have to see who, like, in my opinion, you look at Gavin, it's more than just Polkadot, right? You look at what he contributed to the space, and he's a GOAT. So, yeah, I agree with you, though. But I think it's not its time yet. I think it's going to come, and we're going to see it, and you're going to be like, wow, holy shit, about more. 100%.
The thing that will change my mind about Pulse Chain is like the thing with Pulse Chain is it needs to be something. And what I mean by that is what is the chain? Like what identity does it have? Right? Like every chain that's successful has something as far as an identity, right? Like Bitcoin, store of value. Ethereum is like the DeFi stablecoin chain. Like Pulse Chain doesn't have that yet. Now, what I think could be a good use case and a good identity for Pulse Chain is real world assets. I know Famous agrees with me here. If Pulse Chain
1000%.
gets adopted as the RWA chain, I would be super bullish long term. Super bullish. And I wouldn't be trading it. I would be more of a long term investor. But until that happens, I can't be a long term investor. I can't be like a hodler through bear markets when you the reality of it is just look at how the chain gets cheated now, right? You know, Famous your mic, bro. Top mic.
What?
Your mic's making some noise, bro. I don't know. Stop now. Um, yeah, so like if the chain's getting cheated down as much as it is now by whales that got big bonuses, like yesterday, a guy clipped out 250k PLS. It got eaten. Don't get me wrong, but like the, just imagine what kind of sell pressure is going to come in the bear market because these people that are selling now, they're selling to chase other things that are going to go up. If there's nothing if there's nothing left to go up, people are going to be exiting into fiat, and there's going to be more sell pressure, especially when there's no promise of or like there's no identity to the chain. Like it's still we're at the top of the bull market, and Pulse Chain doesn't have a thing that it's like, oh, what is it? Is it the meme chain? Is it the privacy chain? Is it this? Is it that? Like, if we end this bull market and there's like people actually building real world assets on the chain and there's actually interest there, I will be more reluctant to sell as much in the bear.
Yeah, that's
That's
fair.
what I think we're missing. Like, we have an identity problem. Like, what are we? We can't just be a fork of Ethereum that's faster and cheaper. That doesn't work. That's been done 10 times already, and none of those chains like
Yeah, that's the number one failing thing of all of them
yeah,
until they rebranded and retried and said, "Oh, we do something else." Right?
yeah.
So, yeah, 100%, you're onto something, bro. To be honest with you, you're on. It's huge, bro, because we have to find our niche. If we're a copy, it's either we copy or we find our niche.
Yeah, if we're going to be a copy, we have to do something better than Ethereum. Like there has to be
Yep.
something that Pulse Chain, and it can't be faster transactions or cheaper transactions.
I just don't think Richard's waiting for us to figure that out. I think that there is something he has.
Richard doesn't want us to figure it out. He just wants us to get people here. But like the problem is that how do we get people here? The ideas that have been said and have been done don't work. It doesn't work, right? So maybe we have to re-strategize and look at things or try things new to see if maybe it's something else. You know what I mean? Because it's clearly not our intelligence, because when we go out there, we're the most intelligent. So how do we break it down in a way that it works? That's how I realize it. It's like we will run laps around everyone, but we can't capture them. Why? Well, I think it's because we can't connect with them properly. Because if you can connect with someone, it's much easier to onboard, in my opinion. That's why everyone onboards in IRL, because you connect with the individual. But online, when you're trying to do all this marketing, you have to, what's the like way of saying it properly in English? Like you have to get like you have like an attention span that you have to quickly get them, right? So
Yep.
like what do people, it's like it's either we keep going on every narrative and we say, oh no, but wait, like at some point if we go with every narrative and say, well, Pulse Chain does that. Not that Pulse Chain solves this, right? Like, oh no, we have perps, or hey, we have a DEX, or like, no, we have NFTs. If we keep doing that, at one point people are gonna be like, well, wait, we could just go there. We could just go there. And
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, there's a scorecard, and our scorecard's like 1 out of 100. So we need that wake up towards 50 cents to show that, like, oh, we're doing it again. And until we have that, I mean, we're not even up above a cent right now. So it's like,
I think our scorecard is amazing. It's just we think we're like
But
The
when
first
I
step
onboard
would
and I have
the first step
conversations
would
with
be to
people, they look at the chart and
yeah.
they're like, "Oh, well, it's a pump and dump," and they need to see like, "Oh, we're going 5 cents, we're going 10 cents,"
Right.
and
So
that makes it easier for me to onboard in real life at least.
yeah, for retail, yes, but like institutional money, like big money, doesn't care about pumps. They want to know, okay, what can I do on this chain that I can generate money from? For it, like, and I'll use this example again, in RWAs, right? If people used Pulsechain to tokenize real estate, commodities, stocks, bonds, collectibles, all of that shit, right? And there was money, there's business there, there's money being made, not from appreciation of the token, the price, but actually the infrastructure of that chain. And big money comes over here, then by default, the price will skyrocket. But having the price skyrocket is a short term thing. If it's just retail coming in to buy it, and then they're going to get sold, and then there's going to be sellers, and it's just going to go back down. But if there's adoption of the chain through something, some kind of niche, then there's a lot of money that stays on the chain. And I think RWAs should be the thing, because there isn't an RWA chain. There isn't a chain that everyone's like, we're going to build RWAs on this chain because it's the
Yeah.
RWA
Well, I
chain.
mean, that's why I
That
like
doesn't exist.
what Midas is building. It was basically my only idea too was like involving real estate into Pulse Chain and having it burn the native Dex token too. So like I think he'll build that pretty well. I don't know how far he is, but if he does launch it, like I'll be buying property with that platform on Pulse Chain.
Yeah, it's like
The beauty about the RWA is that you don't need a token, right? Like you have to
yeah,
get
yeah,
this out of
totally.
your head. Like you have to understand the beauty about stable coins on Ethereum, right? Is not that they're in liquidity pools, is that they're minted on chain. So the value aspect is $300 billion that's on chain, but has nothing to do with Ethereum. It has to do with what's on the chain, right? It doesn't have to do with anything in an LP with a meme coin or helping a core coin. No, it's about how does the value derive, right? And us, we have a fashion where we can make value. So the RWAs actually don't have to be tied to our appreciation ecosystem. The art people can use the technology, right, and offer it in ways that's like, wait, you want to do this on Ethereum? Cool. This costs you this much, but if you come on Pulse Chain, it's 1/100th of the cost. That's how you grab them, because you have to find the solution. Why do people want Ethereum? Because they want to adopt something that they're able to do this with the technology. Okay, well, we need to pitch it to them and say, well, you could do it at 1/100th of the cost. And that's how you properly get them for that situation. You can't tell them, oh, transactions are we faster and cheaper. Like no one gives a shit. Like the real people who give a shit is develop cheaper, and you put it in a fashion that it's like, well, why wouldn't businesses adopt that? I think it's the best way is RWAs right now, because that's what we need, because the TVL, the true value liquid on chain, needs to grow. That's the only way that our meme coins are going to grow. That's the only way the cores are going to grow. The only way this system becomes more valuable is that true value liquid. The true value is what matters, because that's what, when people come in here and say, well, if I put in 5 million, it's either I do nothing with my 5 million to get my 5 million out, or if I do something, it's not guaranteed I'll have my 5 million.
I mean, so and you guys are gonna laugh, but like that's why I thought Richard's wanting to do a decentralized stable, because if it's Circle on our chain, they have control over the chain. If they have billions of dollars on Pulse chain, and for whatever reason they go out of business or they collapse, but like if we have a DeFi stablecoin that is even, let's say it's even backed by Richard's Bitcoin or something, like then he can be the Fed. He can adjust, the interest rate, the
But why does it have
everything.
to be Richard? We have Coast. You have USDT. You have USDC. It's backing
You can't
300,
you
but it's
can't control a
backing.
market.
But you can, like, you don't understand. Like, you're thinking like tomorrow I'm not going to work because there's a chance I'm going to get hit by a car. So you just never leave your house, because you're saying there's a chance I get hit by a car because I live next to a highway, or I live next to a boulevard, right? I live right in front of a boulevard. I can't do that. No, you can't think like that. You have to think like, okay, wait, USDT, USDC. If we bring it onto our chain, they won't negate it. They don't do that, right? As long as there's nothing shady about the chain, which there isn't. Right now, there's nothing, no reason for them to negate any of our coins. If that happens, there's a bigger problem than just us. People will revolt if they do that. Not just because it's us, because they don't do that. They've never done that. Unless there's a hack, someone robs, and it's and your name on Etherscan changes to like, Bybit hacker, and you become the hacker, right? And then you're done. You're blacklisted, and you're just But that's decentralization, right? But I think if there's too much money to lose, they have billions of dollars on Ethereum. If that collapses, bro, no way Ethereum is Pulse Chain is going to survive. That's 100 million
Well, dude,
just wiped out
if
one
the
shot.
wrong people didn't agree with Richard Hart and wanted him to be in jail,
Well,
then our SAC funds would have been at very high
look,
risk.
right now, the actions is there's only $10 million of real money the way you want it to happen. Okay. It's works. It's like 10% of the chain. It works. Coasting works. We don't have to do another one.